right, everybody. Welcome to the Jesse Lee Falls podcast. It has been about a month and a half since I posted a video. Sorry I've been absent. I've had a lot of cool things happening. So I'm here to disclose what's been going on with me and why I haven't done any podcast episodes. I've been super busy because a few weeks ago I submitted 3 of my songs to a boutique record label studio out of Nashville, just outside of Nashville. And they picked one of the songs up, wanted to redo it. I said, okay. Sent them like a few $100s just for a little bit of the overhead for he's got a pool of Nashville pros that he uses. And I literally sent like a few $100. And within a week, he sent the song back to me, a whole new rhythm track with the Nashville polish. And now I'm going to go in and I have to record the vocals here at the studio that I work through in Portland. Justin Phelps out of Hallowed Halls. And we're going to put the vocals, record the vocals here, and I'll send them over to him over in Tennessee. And anyways, it's a pretty big deal because the guy is going to be shopping it around for 6 weeks, and he's got a bunch of radio stations that he's affiliated with and networks with. He's produced over 200 hits, yada, yada, yada. He's produced for guys like Colin Ray. So the point is that, you know, I'm always talking about songwriting, how important songwriting is. And, you know, really that's the game that I choose to play. I'm not really trying to, I'm not necessarily trying to compete so much out in the live playing arena. The challenge of trying to keep a band together is so great, because there's a catch-22 that happens. A lot of times it's really just scheduling and the fact that you've got guys that are kind of halfway in. And so if you're all the way in and you're working with people who are halfway in, that's just going to always hold you back. So, I choose to play a different game. And I'm trying to compete in the field of songwriting. So it's kind of funny because some of the band members, when they heard the Nashville version of the song, they're kind of like, oh wow, you know, it's still the same song, but they're not used to the new version. They're not used to the idea of handing a song over to somebody completely random and then they put their own perspective or twist on it, and their whole objective was, we're going to put Nashville polish on this, because in Nashville, their whole objective is to design the rhythm track in a way that the vocals take all of the spotlight. It's all about the vocals. So I thought it was really cool because, for one, it's a complete honor, and it's pretty flattering. So I also like the fact that they didn't change the integrity of the song. In fact, the bridge section, I thought that would probably just get tossed. I thought maybe it was too artsy, and he kept it. So that's really cool. Like, the whole integrity of the song is still there, and it's just a really cool opportunity. So I wanted to share that with you guys, that I'm over here just doing deals, and I just honestly haven't had a whole lot of time to make an episode. And so now so many things have kind of accumulated where I'm like, oh man, I really got to get this episode out, because if I don't, things are just going to keep accumulating. So this is a good way for me to just kind of let you guys know what's been up with me. I haven't fallen off the map or anything. I still have a lot to talk about, so I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me. And you're probably wondering, okay, well, what song is this? And I'm going to let you guys know. The song is called Before I'm Gone. So please go check it out on YouTube. And remember, guys, please subscribe to this channel. I'm almost at 100 subscribers, trying to get over that threshold, trying to get to that 1,000 mark, But yeah, please subscribe, because I've got so many cool things coming up in the future. I've got a lot of cool content that I'm creating, and which also brings me back to the point of the studio. This Saturday, I'm going to be in the studio, and I'm going to be in there from 9 to 5, and I decided that I'm going to go ahead and just post the whole experience live on YouTube. I had my 1 year anniversary was last month for doing podcasting, and we tried to do a live podcast to celebrate the 1 year anniversary, and we had technical difficulties. It didn't happen, and so because of that, I've kind of been bummed out, because I wanted to do a live podcast to celebrate my 1 year, and so I decided that, well, we're going to go ahead and just kind of put all that and compact that into the studio, and that's going to be this Saturday, which is July 19th, and we're going to show you guys how we create a song from the ground up. I'm really excited about that. And that's kind of a cool segue to bring me into my next point, which is, if you guys are in a band, or if you're an artist and you work with musicians and you work with, like, maybe you don't really have a set group of band members, but you're an artist and you write music, and maybe you have an opportunity to go into the studio, I do have a little bit of advice if you guys aren't really familiar with doing studio work, or if you are. Something I've had to kind of learn the hard way through the years is when you start working with an extremely competent studio and an extremely competent engineer and producer, it's very important to take their consideration their opinions into consideration, and not to a point where don't let anybody run roughshod over you. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that a lot of these guys are very, very cool, very kind of calm dudes. So if they say anything to you, if they kind of maybe share their opinion with you, you really kind of want to listen to it very, very carefully, because they'll say things very subtly, and it's kind of your job to read the subtext. If they're mentioning it at all, something to pay attention to, because they're not going to tell you what to do. So something I've had to learn about studio work is, and Saturday is going to be a really great example to show you guys this, that where I'm at right now with my band is, and I've talked about this in my prior podcasts, that I use a lot of different people because of people's schedules. And so I tend to have, a couple different bass players, a couple different drummers to be able to pull from, so that way I can keep gigging. And I know there's a lot of people that do operate that way, but then there's a lot of bands that don't operate that way at all. That it's all about loyalty, and you guys only will play a gig if everybody can do it, if all the stars lined up, blah, blah, blah. That's not how you run a business. So if you're trying to run a business, if you're trying to actually be a professional, you're trying to like run it like a business, and you have to understand that that's just not a productive way. You're not going to get anywhere. So, right now where I'm at is I'm working with a couple new guys, and things have been going pretty good, actually. Things seem to be clicking pretty good on the creative level. There's always some little kinks that need to be worked out when you're bringing new people in, just because they're not as familiar with the material as you, obviously. But you can always give people the room to explore and try to put their stamp on things and all that stuff. That's all good. But it's a bit of a slippery slope, because I'm working with some new guys, and we've been here at the house and we've been creating. We've been recording, just trying to record some pretty high quality demos. We're just trying to get decent sounding demos. And that's been all good and fine and everything. But because they are new, and the relationship that I have established with the studio and the engineer that I work with, that's something I established, 6 years ago, maybe almost 7 years ago, and I wouldn't suggest, and this is kind of hard for a lot of people, because you don't want to look like a jerk, and you're not trying to be disrespectful to your friends or your band members or whatever. But don't let your friendships and your biasness towards your friends, because your band members are your friends. Hopefully they are. But if they really are your friends, if you're working with guys that are new, you can't just say, "Oh, well, this is the new band, and so I'm just going to insert these guys into this studio situation," where maybe you've built this relationship. You gotta, I guess, what do you say? You gotta vet your players. You gotta test them out for a while. Because when you build a really professional relationship with a very professional, competent engineer, producer, you don't want to do things where if they think that you're regressing or moving backwards, or maybe they're like, "Oh, well, you brought this guy in, but like, you brought him in because that's the drummer that you have, or the bass player that you have, or the keyboard player that you have. But for recording, like, sometimes you have to use ringers," is what I'm trying to get at. And it's a really touchy subject, because you don't want to alienate your players. But your players also have to realize that you've been building a career, you've been building relationships with professionals, and if they're realistic and are cool, then they'll hang around, because they're going to be like, "Oh, hey, I'm not really invited into the studio session yet, but that's because I just haven't been around long enough to really prove myself, or to prove that maybe I even have the temperament to be in a studio situation," because playing in the studio is really hard. You have to have patience. You also have to have the stamina. You have to have, you have to have the attention span. There's all kinds of things to it. You got to have a optimistic temperament, because once the morale in the room leaves, it's almost impossible to get it back. So what I'm saying to you guys out there in songwriter land is, if you're a songwriter and you do use different band members, you can't let just any specific band member kind of pigeonhole themselves with you, because when you go in and record stuff in the studio, you have to use ringers sometimes. And I wouldn't, honestly, I would suggest using ringers and then getting it extremely solid. So, because the thing is, like, when I go into the studio, I'm spending $85 an hour. So this isn't like I'm going to somebody's house and recording at somebody's house where it's like free. No, I I use a professional studio. It's $85 an hour. So I'm not there to waste time. And if you guys are spending $85 an hour and you're bringing in guys that maybe you're just not quite sure like how they're going to do in the studio, I would say don't even risk it. Don't risk your money. Like, just, if the studio has a super pro that they can go, oh hey, I know this super pro. He'll come in and, like, yeah, you're gonna have to pay him $100. But just do it because the time that you save and then like the track that you get, it's so, I mean, you've got an actual product. There's nothing worse than going in and recording, doing like 3, 4, 5 takes of a song, the same song. You're on take 5, take 6, because if it's taking that many, it's starting to look like, hey man, like, I'm not sure if we're gonna get this today. And if you get 6 takes of a song and you walk out of there, you've just dropped $85 an hour on studio time. You did 6 takes of a song. You walk away and you feel like you didn't get it. You didn't get the take. Dude, there's nothing worse than that. So I'm just saying, like, try to communicate really well with your band members. I just, like, for example, I've got like 4 or 5 different projects going on simultaneously. And I was just I went and did a weekend gig with my new rhythm section over in Baker City this last weekend, over the 11th and 12th of July. And I had a good chance to talk with both of them and just kind of let them know that I do have 4 and 5 different projects going on. And, getting the vocal tracks over to Nashville, that's one project. I'm also taking the last album that I made, Caution Funky Kids at Play, which, go check it out. It's on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, all that good stuff. That basically, it's funny, I lost my train of thought there for a second. Excuse me. So basically, I have 4 or 5 different projects going on simultaneously. Getting the vocal tracks over to Nashville is just one project. We're making the last album that I recorded, Funky Kids at Play, turning that into an instrumental album. So we're just going to basically take the vocals off, and the guitar will be the melody. And we're going to compile some new instrumental tunes and probably some instrumental tunes I've done in the past, and compile all of those into an actual instrumental album, which I'm looking forward to. That's going to be super fun. At the same time, I've got, this new rhythm section that I've been working with here locally where I live in Astoria, and we've been traveling a little bit too, trying to fill it out this, using this summer to trying to fill these guys out, see where they're at. And I had a great conversation with them and just kind of let them know that, hey, fall is coming and winter is coming, and I'm going to be doing these studio projects, and at the same time we can be here recording some new material, basically using this house and my recording gear to have a lot of fun. And sometimes you have to compartmentalize these relationships, because I think it's just like any new relationship. You can't just go rushing in. You just gotta be careful about things, because the bottom line is that if you feel that you could go into the studio and use studio ringers, and that it's going to be more effective and you're going to get a better product, and it's just going to be a win-win-win-win situation. And then it also keeps your relationship really good with your producer engineer, because if he or she feels like you're bringing friends in, that's bias. You're being biased, and it's just like, if you're just going to work with family, I mean, that sort of nepotism. So I guess my advice to songwriters is, when it comes to the studio, so I guess what I'm trying to say is that when it comes to the studio, as a songwriter, you're not in this to hurt feelings or to alienate the band members that you work with. But as a songwriter, you have the right to work with the best people possible when it comes to songwriting and recording. When it comes to recording your songs, you should be trying to find the best. And sometimes you have to spend a little bit of money to do that, because these guys they're not gonna do it for free, and they are professionals. They want to get paid, and you should want to pay them, because that way they're not trying to come back on you for royalties. They're like, hey man, you got hired for the session, you got paid for the session, and that's where the business transaction ends. And then if something does become successful, that's on you. That's on you as the sole proprietor, entrepreneur, to, you should want to treat the people who made you successful. You should want to treat them well. I'm not saying you have that you have to, but you should want to. I think that's a pretty healthy ethos, if you're that kind of person. Like, hey, you helped me do this, and I'm rolling in it, and you're still in poverty. It's like, that's, anyways. So when it comes to trying to maintain relationships and friendships, it can be very tricky. So I try to keep an open line of communication with my guys. I actually thought, and it was so funny, because I was like, oh, I should actually make a podcast about this, because I know it can get really slippery, and people's feelings get hurt. They do. You never really know, especially if you're working with guys that you haven't worked with before, or haven't worked with in a long time, or whatever the case is. You don't really know what's going to push somebody's buttons sometimes. But and I have to kind of watch that myself, because I will come from a place of business, which looks, I think, on the outside and the surface, can appear to be I look uncaring. But that's not what it is. I care so much about the music. I care more about the music being right than the person's feelings, who's like, you know, maybe they're not the most qualified person to do that song. Maybe you know somebody who would just absolutely destroy that specific song. Because songs are little entities, man. Like each song is a specific life form, and when it comes to the drums, it's like the drums have to be a certain thing. You know, you don't want the funk drummer playing the rock stuff, and you don't want the rock drummer playing the funk stuff. There's certain things that, you know, it's up to you as a producer to have the producer hat and go, oh, because this isn't about, you know, biasness. This is about who can do the best job for that specific thing. So trying to balance your friendships, your band members, and your relationships with your band members, it's really important. But you also have to keep that open line of communication and let them know that, hey, look, you know, I am a songwriter, I am a producer, and I am going to produce without you. And like, I need you to not get your panties in a bunch when you're not invited to the studio, because maybe you don't have quite the experience that you need in order to get into this specific studio. Because if I look like I'm bringing people in on a bias standpoint, I'm going to look like I can't afford to look like a fool in front of this guy that I've built a relationship with 7 years. You know, two albums and a single that we've done. And John Cuneberty, he was, just to let you guys know the level, right? Justin Phelps was such a nice guy, and that because his mentor is John Cuneberty, he was nice enough to go, oh, hey, you know, I bet John Cuneberty would master this. And so that, you know, he made like one of my dreams come true. One of my dreams, like I remember when I was 14, and because I was learning everything about Joe Satriani when I was 14, and it was just one of those things. It was like, oh man, I want John Cuneberty to produce one of my albums. Well, he didn't produce it, but he mastered my album, and Justin is his protege, you know, so to speak. So anyways, you know, when you're building relationships like that on that level, you guys have to kind of navigate it carefully without hurting people's feelings, you know, because you want to be able to maintain the guys that you're playing with locally. But if you're, you know, if it's a new situation, like, you should feel liberated, and you should, you know, your guys should make you feel that there's no guilt trip about you going recording your music the way you want to record your music. And if they're really cool with it, they'll want to go out there and play that stuff live. They'll relearn those parts to the best of their ability and be able to support you live. So this is really about, you know, it's like, who do you have on your team? Do you have people who are supporting you, or do you have people who are trying to usurp you? So I think it becomes really obvious when you start separating things like this, because these are tough issues to tackle, because a lot of people's egos and pride, and, well, what do you mean? Like, well, like, oh, like I'm not good enough? And it's like, well, I don't know if it's not that you're not good enough. It's maybe that you're not experienced enough, and maybe I don't know, because I don't think you're somebody who has a lot of studio experience. And if you know that's the case, then you're going back on your integrity. So I'm just saying, you guys, I know I'm beating this to death today, but the reason why is because we're going to go in on Saturday from 9 to 5. This thing's going to be, we're going to be putting this out on YouTube live on Saturday. And we're going to show you guys how we create a song from the ground up. The guys that I'm pulling in are total ringers. One of the guys, well, I'm not going to say anything, but these guys are pros, and I'm really excited to get a chance to work with these guys because these guys are absolute pros. So it's a really great experience for me, and we're gonna get some really good stuff. But it's cool because I get to show you guys the actual process of just creating a song from the ground up. Something I've been wanting to do for a long time. So I'm really excited about that, and I appreciate you guys hanging in there with me today. I'm trying to think of what else has been going on. There's a bunch of other things we're going to be putting out. We got a bunch of singles that we're going to be creating between now and Christmas. So definitely subscribe to this channel, because the music videos that are going to be coming out, you guys are not going to want to miss. If you have liked any of our other past music videos, we some of our music videos, we definitely have an affinity for comedy. We do try to, have we try to show that we're not taking this ourselves too seriously. I really love the comedy side of music, and funny music videos are just always a winner. I just think that's just a winning formula. So some of the videos that we have mapped out here for ourselves in the near future are going to be absolutely hilarious, and I can't wait to start putting them out. And stay tuned, and I'm going to be putting something out on Facebook, just letting you guys know, hey, tune in to this channel at 9 o'clock in the morning. I know it's not from 9 to 5 I'll be going, and we're going to show you guys how to create a song in the studio from the ground up with a professional engineer, professional producer, and I'm bringing in a couple pro ringers for the rhythm section, and I'm just super excited. Let's see what else do we have going on. I also wanted to do a quick shout out. There was a couple other things that went down on the if you guys go back a few episodes, I did a couple episodes on showing you guys how to book gigs cold, and I wanted to do a quick update on that. I got the Spokane gig, so yay, awesome to that. It did take some work. It took some haggling. He was basically passing me off. There's a big event that happens there in Spokane every year, and I felt like he was trying to push me off onto that event and that event planner, and I kind of came back with very politely kind of came back with some obstinance, which was, sure, I would love any other gig that you can get us is wonderful. I'm totally about playing any event. But I don't want to lose sight of why I'm actually contacting you. I'm actually contacting you because I'm interested in playing your place. And I basically just gave him a bunch of different options to choose from and a bunch of different dates, but I communicated to him very effectively that I'm not trying to come up there and do some kind of one-off gig. I'm trying to build relationships with specific places where I think we can be an asset to your establishment. And I was trying to show you guys that this is an example of a way to handle emails without, you know, you don't want to take no for an answer, but you got to word things in a way where they're not going to want to say no. You got to word it in a way where it's like, you got to let them know, man, you are on their side. You're not some kind of parasitic psychopath who's trying to just do a one-off gig because, oh, well, we're just going through there, and we're just, we just happen to be in your area, and we need to just, be accommodated, and we're trying to get another gig, but we really have no intention of building like a relationship with you. No, we just want to. So anyways, there's so many different approaches, and just be not just polite, but don't take no for an answer, and be polite. It's a trick. But anyways, I wanted to let you guys know that after going back and forth with this guy, I think we sent like, I don't know, there was like 6 to 8 different emails that were sent back and forth before I finally got him to go, oh, you know what? What's your phone number? I've got one date that actually works. Because I gave him like 6 different days. I gave him 3 weekends to choose from, and there was one day that actually worked. And I was like, boom, done. So something else that happened, which I was talking about, when you're doing this music business game and you're trying to book gigs, it's a long game. This is a total long game. Like, the people that you reach out to, you don't ever know. You never know if they're going to get back to you, for one. And then after time goes by, you kind of just forget about it. You move on. Well, it's a really funny thing, because about 2 weeks ago, I was going through my emails, and I check my emails every day, and all of a sudden I see this random email from a place over in Bend, Oregon. And it was, I guess I had sent him an email a year and a half ago trying to get a gig. And I mean, I can't even believe it. He sends me back this email, and he's like, hey, I was cleaning out my inbox, and I saw this, and I can't believe I missed this, but I hope I didn't miss out on a really great opportunity. I would like to book you, and, gave me a couple of different options or whatever. So I sent him back a couple of options, but that was a year and a half ago. And I just forgot, once you feel like a place just kind of ghosts you, you don't keep pursuing it. But then every once in a while, like, these places just, like, you don't know who's running things over there, and so people aren't that organized. People just, your stuff slips through the cracks. And then here it is a year and a half later, and I'm getting this random gig offer over in a place that I've actually been trying to book. Because I try to book strategically. It's more about, where the places are geographically, because usually I am on my way to another place. But it just goes to show you guys, like, don't get all sad when you feel like people are ghosting you. It's like, that's a perfect example of what a long game this is. A lot of the people that you're putting into, if you're trying to book gigs, I know it can be really frustrating. It can be hard, and you get better at it. It's just like anything. Anything you do, if you start doing a lot of it, you're going to get a lot better at it. But also, you just have to know how to not take a no and be very polite about it. So I just wanted to let you guys know on the gig front, I did, I was able to close a couple things, which was very cool. Let's see, what else? There was also, let's see, the gigs. Yeah, I got a couple, closed those. Let's see, there was something else. I gotta think about it. And just to remind you guys, please go check out the song that got picked up and is being redone outside of Nashville. It's called Before I'm Gone, and I would much appreciate that. You guys go check that out, and I'm pretty excited to have the new version released. It'll be before the end of this year. So, anyways, I really appreciate you guys hanging in there with me on this one, and I'll try not to stay stay absent. I'll try to. God, I can't even talk now. That's funny. Thank you for staying tuned in with me, you guys, and letting me update you on everything that's been going on. Also, looking forward to getting up to Spokane, and I'm gonna film that experience. Matt Halverson coming up to see you, buddy. I think it's my buddy's birthday, Matt Halverson's birthday today, or it was yesterday. Maybe it was yesterday. Happy birthday. And I'm coming up to Spokane because I'm going to be podcasting with you and your band. And also, Matt, I do intend to do a podcast with Aaron talking about vocal harmonies. That was a good idea for a podcast episode, so I just want to let you know that is coming. And anyways, I just appreciate you guys hanging in there with me, letting me update you on everything that's going on. Please go check out the new album, Caution, Funky Kids at Play, Jesse Lee Falls Band. Check out our new video, Aiming Up. The song and the video of Aiming Up is a shout out to for my appreciation to Jordan Peterson. If you guys don't know who Jordan Peterson is, it's kind of he's become kind of a controversial name, but I love the guy, and he's helped me out a bunch. And just to let you guys know, he's one of the reasons why I don't drink anymore. He's really helped me out. And also me finding other things to do that are better than drinking and getting addicted to finances. I just want to let you guys know I'm going on like my 4th month, coming up on my 4th month here soon, of no drinking, and it's been super great. I have drank some non-alcoholic beers to, kind of help with. Every once in a while, I miss the taste of a beer. I actually like IPAs. I like the bitters, and I like porters and just chocolatey thick beers like that. But they make a bunch of good non-alcoholic beers now, and so if you guys are struggling with alcoholism out there, anybody out there, try some of these non-alcoholic beers. It's really cool because you get the taste, and then there's no buzz or anything. And it's actually very nice. It's nice to be able to stay in control of yourself, kind of be able to have better control of your mouth, and be able to not alienate people at the party, and then still be able to drink these very nice beverages, because I personally like the taste of beer. So, financially, it's like I said, everything is going boom on the financial front because I've redirected my all these hindrances like drinking and just bad habits, and I'm turning those into other habits that are going to work for me. So getting addicted to making money, and it's working. And I would suggest to anybody out there that's listening to this, if you've made it this far, your reward is go invest in Bitcoin. If you want to change your life, if you want to become rich, invest in Bitcoin. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now. Don't say I didn't tell you. I don't want to hear 5 years down the road that, oh, I didn't do it. I should have done it 5 years ago. If you guys are not investing in Bitcoin, You are missing the train. And this is I'm just being absolutely humble here. Nobody ever tried to help me or tried to tell me or give me good advice ever about getting wealthy. This isn't something that our family members do. It's not something our family members would even want to do most of the time. Nobody wants to help somebody else get wealthy. I don't know why. I think it sucks. I think it's a shit ethos. I think if we're all trying to help each other get wealthy, that's a much more beautiful ethos. And I'm putting this out there. If you guys want to change your lives, go invest in Bitcoin. Go do it now. And make sure that you've got at least $1,000 in there, because the exponential growth that's going to happen is you're going to be missing the bus. And if you're skeptical, I'm sorry. I feel bad for you, because all the skeptics out there and the untrusting, just like because it's new, I'm really sorry for you guys, because I'm going to be kind of keeping up on this and showing you guys, like, just to reiterate, I am on a 1-year challenge. My 1-year challenge is that if I stop drinking for a year and focus on getting financially wealthy, to see how far I could go. And at the end of this year, so I think I started this back in April. Let's see. I think back in April is when I started it. So, yeah, that's right. So, next April, or this coming April, I will be giving you guys a breakdown of how far I have come in a year. And that's going to be really exciting. And I'm just trying to put this out there that I had some friends that got wealthy on Bitcoin a few years ago, and I missed the bus because I was skeptical, because I didn't believe it. So anyways, I'm just putting this out there. If you guys want to get wealthy, go invest in Bitcoin. All right. Love you. Peace. And tune in Saturday at 9 in the morning. I'm going to be going live, so pay attention. And it's going to be all day long, you guys. You guys get to hang out with me in the studio and watch me produce a song from the ground up. And it's going to be awesome. All right. Cheers. Love ya. Bye.